Yeah, so Rich, thanks for joining us. We're just here to talk about zines today and your work. So, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you have a little introduction, Rich?
My name is Rich, married, five cats, two dogs. Love my family. Uh, Create as a form of, you know, of resistance for things that I don't like, and as well as empowering and liberating other people. So that's kind of in a nutshell, I guess.
Excellent, cool.
Amazing. Very cool. I'm really happy to have you here, Rich, because when I first started Pocket Thoughts, you were the first person to take notice of my new zine and ask for a copy to be sent to you, and then you did a review of it. So I still think to this day, if you hadn't asked me for that one and did the YouTube video of it, I may not have went on to do issue 2 and 3 and 4 and so on. So I'm excited to have you here.
Oh, well, thank you. I mean, you know what? You guys are real flattering, but like some of you guys just create, you know what I mean? Like, but like I hear that sometimes from people, like a little bit of encouragement goes a long way, I guess. But I really do think like, that was already inside of you, and it wasn't just me, but a multitude of things propelled you to do that, you know what I mean? So, I mean, I'm glad you did it because, you know, Bad People on Fire is still one of my favorite scenes, you know what I mean? Like a lot of the shit you made, I like a lot. So I'm fucking whatever part I played in making you make that shit. I'm fucking glad that I did that shit. You know.
Well, enough about me. Let's talk about you. What do you think of me? No, we want to talk about Feral Comics today, right? That's the new thing? It's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad. Like I was telling people, like I was able to pull a little bit of dough, and I said, fucking, I buy zines as well. On top of like now, I'm like, fuck it, like let me invest in other zinesters, a little more encouragement, right? Going back to what we're talking about, like, like build what you want to see, right? That's why I guess like for some people, like me as an anti-capitalist anarchist, people are always kind of like, but you like business, and I'm like, I don't like business. I like creating self-sustaining systems of the things that I would like to see in the world that I exist in. But predominantly to do that, it has to be self-sustaining. You know what I mean? And so then that's where I've gotten into business in the sense of like, how do I make what I want to see in the world and make it so that it functions and thrives. And so then I had to get business savvy. But yeah, but that's what I like to see,
Well, there's nothing wrong with business that operates with integrity and takes care of its employees and treats them fairly and pays them well accordingly. Right? I think we probably agree on that. So I think it's amazing that you're paying zinesters for their contribution to the zine. It's almost like they have a part ownership in it, right? And want to see it succeed too. So it's fucking cool.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I know a lot of other zines out there asking for like contributors and are like, look, I'm gonna just flat out pay you for your contribution. Like, everybody wants free stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what's rough is that some zinesters don't want to get paid, but I'm like, no, I gotta pay you guys. And they're like, nah, I don't want to. I'm like, no, you have to take it. They're like, no. I'm like, man, just take it and then buy a bunch of copies and give away the copies then. Like just take it. Like, and I think that's a sign of like how, I mean, like the zine community is twofold, right? There's some that look at it like this is the baby step before I get into more mainstream shit, right? And then there's people that enjoy residing in the underground, right? Like my shit, like I said, like because I look at it from a business perspective, the shit that I want to say and the way I want to say it is that something that mainstream media would allow to be said? And usually my mind is like, no. So then knowing that, I'm like, well, fuck it, take them out of the equation, right? Because when I started publication, I had just sold my restaurant. So I had money. So I could have, got a fucking good artist to do my comics, and I could have paid to print them in a more, like more conventional comic book way. Like I could have done all that shit, but my mind was like, but then what I want to say, I can't sell to everybody, right? No one really gives a fuck like that. But, so when zinesters, I mean, like, they're a great community because a lot of the ones that want to reside in the underground, they really do it as a form of like like creating this counterculture or this, you know, third wave, different perspectives of everything, of the spectrum. That's what I like about zines as well, right? Like it's not just one spectrum. It's like the spectrum of shit we talk about is fucking wild, man. Like I get lost reading zines or just reading about different zines and zinesters, right? That's why I like C Green's fucking site. Cause like some of the zines she gets, I'm like, fuck, man, like why don't these people send them to me? Like I'm like, fuck, like she gets some hella tight zines, right? Or she just pumps them up really good, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So how did you first discover zines? Was it through comics, Rich?
It wasn't through comics actually. It was a comic book shop. So I guess it was a comic book shop that was in Hollywood that was next to a Burger King on Vines. And it was like this comic book shop slash like punk shop, record shop. And so then I would go there to get comics, but they would have like other kind of like alternative music that I had never heard of. So like that's where I like bumped into like Bad Religion and shit like that, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of this shit, you know, because the area I lived in, that wasn't the music we predominantly listened to. But then I remember the guy also had zines. He had zines up there, and he was like, yeah, you can make one of these, and then he explained to me what it was, and then I made a zine, you know.
Very
So
cool.
Do you remember what the first zine you made was?
I do, because it was a whole little series, kind of like going back, very nostalgic of like the Ryan fan club thing. But I did this zine called Stupid No Talent Comics, and like I had made like a whole little fake company and everything called Stupid No Talent Productions. And then it wasn't just me, but like then I got like other people that I knew to jump in, and they would do issues or whatever. So I think we did like 5 or 6 of them or whatever. Yeah, and then they sold them at Meltdown Comics. I was the only guy that was like, "I'll take your comics." He's like, "Yeah," and then he was like, "But you know, you get store credit." And I was like, "All right, that's cool." And then I would get comics for my zines, which is, you know, yeah, as a young man, you're like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I'm killing it, you know. Get that $5 comic that you always wanted as a kid, but you know, it's $5
So
is quite
not
a
only
bit.
zines, so you're involved a lot in the DIY sort of movement and things like that. So it's with not just zines. What other things are you creating that like I've t-shirt. I got a t-shirt a while back.
Oh yeah, I make T-shirts, you know, buttons. I know how to heat press on mugs. Um, yeah, like all kinds of shit. Like for me, like I'm learning how to make candles right now. Like I just, you know what? It's just strange. Like life is strange, man. Like I just like doing shit as much as I can on my own, and I don't like to, like really, like I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like I guess my mentality is like there's such a culture of like sheep mentality, and that's not to say like everyone that's labeled as a sheep is a sheep, because I've seen people that have been labeled sheeps that fucking think so differently, right? And think for themselves, honestly, you know. But like I guess because I came from a culture for majority of my life where like going back pre-jail, where like we all kind of assumed like this is what men do to become men or whatever, right? And then even in jail, it was like, well, this is what you do to survive in jail, right? So that when I got out, I was like, fuck, man, like I don't want to be a part of any more sheep mentality of like I'm not gonna question these things. You know what I mean? And so then like when I got out, I remember my mentality was kind of like, well, what do I do? And I was like, well, anything I want, really. So that's when I started touching back to like the shit that I had lost through the process of like just following the mob mentality of my area. And it just made me feel like, you know, kind of that idea of like, if you have that shirt, I probably don't want it. Like, just because I'm so, you know, apprehensive to like anything that everyone likes or does or whatever. But you know, once again, like even then, like I still like some tracks, like you know, I fucking hear and I'm like, I like that song, even though I know it has like a mass audience. But a good song is a good song, and I've outgrown my like no matter what, I hate anything that mainstream plays. It's like, nah, there's some shit that's pretty good, you know. But for a while there, I was like, fuck no, if it's on the mainstream, I don't want to hear it. But you know, that goes to clothes and everything, you know.
Yeah, it seems like you balance that out quite well with like even with the social media. Like a lot of people can say, no, no, f all of this. I'm not even going to touch it. But but you're also involved in a lot of different things. So I feel that you sort of you weigh that on its merits. A lot of that stuff, like you said about the music and things like that, it doesn't matter. It's you weigh it on how you feel and on the merits of it.
Yeah. But, but that's also, you know what? That came because there was a professor that I had in one of my anthro classes. His name was Dr. Peña from UCLA. And he was the one that mentioned to me of like, as an organizer, right? Because he was talking to me about why he thought anarchism couldn't be, right? And then it got even more of like organizing, right? Because I was a community organizer for a long time in LA, and and out here I organize when I can, but it's definitely not as I don't have as much energy as I used to, I guess. But yeah, but we were talking about it, and I remember he was the one that was telling me of like, so you mean to tell me there's this whole group of people here on this platform, right? And we were talking about Facebook. But obviously, like I went over with Instagram, but he was like, you have a group of people here that you want to talk to about a certain problem that you see that you want them to help you with, but instead of you meeting them where they're at, you making it easier for them, you want them to meet you where you're at, and you want them to basically work to get to you to get the message that you want to give them, right? And so then that's when I was kind of like, you know what, you're fucking right. Like, I'm slipping on this. Like, I need to make it easy for people, as easy as I can. So like I've talked about this, and I have an anarchist pen name that I write under, and there was an article that was pretty popular where I was talking about basically how like even people that drop memes, like I know like as revolutionary anarchists, a lot of us like we're like, oh, like they're just meme warriors. It's like, but like they're changing the concept, right? They're changing the perception of things. They're making you laugh, they're making you think. That shit matters, you know what I mean? That shit all matters. You know what I mean? Even like art, like all this shit, I don't think people realize how much of it is rooted in my anarchist style and beliefs of like there was a book called the Socialist Notebooks by Antonio Gramsci. I don't know if you guys ever read that.
No, I haven't.
But like he talks about how like the beginning of any revolution, you'll see the art start to change. And that's because the consciousness and the culture is changing. And then that's when you'll start seeing actual fruitful change. And I remember reading that when I was in jail and being like that's a hit, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's quite topical too, actually, isn't it? Really, with what's going on. It's interesting to see what will happen after this. Cool, very cool, Rich. Do you have anything to add? Or anything you'd like to?
Well, I was gonna ask more about the feral comic scenes that you're working on. We got to talk about anarchy, which is great, but I want people to get your zines as well. Is what I want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Shit.
Tell me about some of the creators that are in here that you like hooked up with and how you got them interested in taking part.
You know what? Like, it's been a long time coming. Like, I know so many great zinesters nowadays, and I know like artists from around the world that are just dope and don't really know or have the capabilities. Like Issue 2, right? The homie Kadai, right? From India. And like he, we were talking for a long time, like how do we get his zines over here, right? And how do we make it so that it's viable for him, right? Going back to this concept of like self-sustaining, because it's costly, and what he's making in India is not enough for him to be able to like just send zines to the United States and get nothing back ultimately, right? Like it becomes problematic for him. So then, that's where it goes back to that question of like, how do you escalate? How do you build up, right? And then once I knew I was in a position where this is tangible, or this is possible, and sustainable, then I reached out to him, and then I reached out to a bunch of people that I knew were around that I knew that I like their perception of things, their mentality, but also like with the idea of like non-censorship. So like, later on there's going to be comics and stories that I don't necessarily agree with, but I guess feral comics for me was the idea of like let's all fucking just think and exist and be, and also empower each other in that sense of like your work is precious, right? Regardless of whether the way it's printed. you know, and one of the main examples of that, I don't know if you guys ever heard of the Girl Scout comics on Image by Jim Mama Food.
I know the name, but I've never read it.
Well, I have a zine of that comic that he then later turned into the comic that's on Image. And so like, that's why I always tell people of like, you know what I mean? Like that was a zine. And I remember when I met him, he tried to sell me like Tank Girl art because he was working on Tank Girl. And I was like, like I love Tank Girl though, but that's why I went to the table. Like, all this Tank Girl art, this shit is tight. And I was like, what do you got? And he's like, I got a bunch of original Tank Girl art. He's like, and I got the zine that I made. And I was like, give me the zine. And sure enough, the zine later on became, like I said, like a popular comic on Image. They had a pilot TV show for it and all kinds of shit. And like that's my point of like, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like zinesters are in a way of like protecting themselves from rejection, which the only person that can reject you is yourself, right? That was one thing I learned in jail. Like the only thing that you shouldn't do is whatever you can't respect yourself for doing, right? And so it's kind of that same thing. And I think people, as people, should have that mentality of like, in the end of the day, you need to respect yourself. And that's it. Period. Right?
Someone asked me once how I know when an issue of Pocket Thoughts is done, right? Because every page is different. There's usually not an underlying theme. Sometimes there is, but usually it's just pretty fucking random and all over the place. And my answer was, I know it's done when I feel like I would pay the $2 or $3 for it. If I don't think I would pay myself what I'm asking for it, then it's not done. I need to rework a page or 2 pages or whatever I need to finish. Can I show some of that? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, just we were talking about Kadai. I think it'd be cool to show some of their art. That's some pretty shit. That's awesome. I love the flow of it.
Yeah. I like the fact that it was something like even me, like, cause like my brother was in a band and like I grew up during that era where everyone had a garage band. So like I definitely like identified with the story of them trying to find the right singer and like
The right singer,
that was shit. Yeah, that I seen with so many people during that era, you know. But yeah.
Yeah, when I was a teenager, it was
mine.
everybody played guitar, right? Everybody played guitar, and I would love to play guitar, but I can't, right? So I taught myself to play harmonica because I was like, okay, I can sing, and like I wanted to be Steven Tyler so bad, but I was like, if I play harmonica, then I bring something to a band that somebody else isn't gonna bring, right?
Yeah.
Playing guitar, but the harmonica players never got the chips.
What? Nah, harmonica's a hit, man. Harmonica's a hit. But you would probably try to play grunge harmonica or something. That shit just didn't function.
Just
Nah,
dirty
fucking, I don't know. Hey, here goes a funny thing. I used to fucking rap. You know what I mean? I still
I
got a
believe
video.
that.
Of me, I got a video of me rapping at a fucking party. You know, so like we'd go to backyard gigs. And so then the people playing the guitars and the drum and the bass and all that, they would drop the beat, and then we would jump on it and do freestyles or whatever. But
I
yeah,
used to record comedy music. I recorded a few comedy albums. One was on iTunes at one point. It's not there. Don't look for it anymore. I wrote a rap song that was all about Full House. So all the lyrics were about the TV show Full House. It was so bad.
oh my god, I wish I could hear that. That sounds good.
I'll
That
send it
sounds
to you.
good.
So what's coming up in the next Pharaoh Comics? Number 3 is a little delayed, but you got some time. You're going to work on it. What are we going to see?
Yes. You know what? You're just gonna see this one. I think is gonna have the most creators in it. So this one might have like 6 different creators in it, and so like yeah, like definitely like just trying to just build. Like I said, just build upward, man. Like I feel like I feel like every year so far with Pro Publication, like we've gotten more ground, and eventually, I mean, this year, things have gotten weird just because originally I was going to buy some vending machines, and these vending machines were going to have zines being sold out of them.
Cool.
But currently, with the state, the way everything is, I'm kind of like, I think I might wait because I don't know how many people are going to go to these comic book shops. And it's crazy because like I went on my way to talk to these comic book shops and were like hey would you be interested? And the way I was gonna do it, which eventually I'm hoping that things will get normalized and then we can do it. But I was planning on buying these little sticker vending machines and putting the 1-page zines in them. and then just charging like 50 cents. And like, you know, I was already working on the graphic that was going to go on the sides of like, you know, meet your next favorite fucking, you know, writer, artist, whatever the fuck. And then people would just put in 50 cents and then get a random one-page zine, you know, and then just, that was where my head was at. And the hope was to get at least 2 to 3 this year. But, you know, like I said, the way this is right now, I don't know how it is where you guys are at, but like where I'm at here in California, they already kind of like, you know, they're really asking everyone to stay indoors, and it's getting weird. And which, like I was saying, like, you know, it's crazy. Like I hope, you know, this is cool and all that, and it doesn't end badly, but like this is a natural occurrence, and it could really go any way, really, you know, because you know, like I don't really talk about it, but like I study anthropology in school, and cultural anthropology was kind of the emphasis or whatever, right? So like, yeah, they talked about how like these kinds of things happen all the time, and then like it gets embedded into like our genes and DNA, and you know, we become, you know, like we just carry it, but it doesn't affect us anymore and things like that. So pretty crazy to live in this moment, I think.
Yeah, it's same sort of happening here. It's things are quieting down, and actually, I was looking to start something a little bit new also this year with coffee, and I've you know, just put the brakes on a little bit and just waiting to see what happens. But the vending machine idea sounds really cool. I used to actually be involved with drink vending machines a few years back, me and my brother, and we had like maybe 200 around factories and things like that. And but yeah, that's a really cool idea. I like the idea of the zine vending machines.
Well, I mean, man, but that 200 coffee machines, vending machines, that's a hit, man. You see, so you're, look, I fucking really like coffee, man. Like, I really want to get into like coffee roasting and brewing, and like, I bought like, I don't know if I ever showed off my coffee equipment, but like, I bought shit to open up a coffee shop because I want to open up like a coffee shop eventually later on, where the idea is like the ambiance is like a coffee shop for creators. So then I want to have like editing bays for people to edit fucking like film and like podcasts and shit like that. And then like instead of it being fucking like regular coffee tables, have kind of like art tables, like something like mine. Oh, my socks are right there. Move these motherfuckers. But yeah, like, you know, art tables and fucking like, you know, just, and then just fucking just littered with art supplies and zines and shit. And then, you know, just fucking drink coffee and make shit, you know?
Yeah, like my idea, not to sidetrack it too much, but yeah, my idea is to do like a mobile coffee shop with and carry around the zine library and just go into like pop up sort of style, you know, like on Saturdays, things like that. Sling coffee and let people look through the zine library, all of the zines that I've reviewed and things like that.
I seen you doing it, and I was like, damn, it's gonna be a hit. But like going back to something you're talking about, like this fucking shit really puts a damper, and it's crazy because like you know, like in my mind, but like I've lost so much in life that I've learned like to like they're just speed bumps, you know what I mean? Like and you know, and sometimes like there'll be an accident on the road, and then you take a side street, you know what I mean? But it doesn't mean you stop the trajectory, you know what I mean? So like even like for me, like my mind right now,
so
yeah, well,
you take it slow and start planning and like, okay, put some things in action that like to get ready to sort of launch or whatever.
yeah, fuck yeah, like even like I couldn't imagine you roasting some beans, man. I wonder what that shit would be like. You know what I mean? I would fucking buy it. I buy hella weird coffee from fucking strange like people that fucking roast it at home, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I'll try
well,
your coffee.
I'm using like a small. It's like a they call it a test roaster. It looks like a size of a toaster oven sort of thing.
So you are roasting your own beans?
Pardon?
You say you are roasting your own beans, Craig?
Yeah. There's a little place near me that has a little shop where I'm able to go there and roast myself. So yeah.
Fuck yeah, that's tight, man. When you gonna put it in a bag?
Well, my plan was April, and then just things have slowed down. So I'm just slowly working at it now.
Fuck, so that was the plan then. All right, well, you let me know when it's up, because I'm gonna get a couple bags.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
we'll
don't know
try
how
that
they'll
shit.
taste once I send them to the US, but we'll see. You know, we'll see.
Fuck yeah. What about you, Ryan? What's up with Pocket Thoughts?
Oh man, I just did the silly stanzas 2 and 3. More silly I think I got them. Yeah, I got them here. More silly stanzas and Return of the Sun of silly stanzas. Stuff to make you giggle. I put the one up that you can get at like a free PDF. Everyone's locked inside right now, and I was like, you know what? Here's something. Take it a free zine as a PDF to hopefully make you laugh and smile a little bit. I finished up Neurotica earlier in the month, which was my sex zine. It's a fun, interesting read. And next is gonna be Pocket Thoughts issue number 11.
17, yeah. Fuck
11.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna parody like those 17 magazines, like those teeny. But there's gonna be like a quiz in it, and like it's gonna be a lot of fun too. I try
Dear
and
Diary or something.
a different style every issue, right? So like I did the number 10 was a collage zine, and I'd never really done that before. So I just have fun exploring different styles and mediums to put onto paper. I think that it's cool.
Yeah, no, fuck. I did that last year. Like I set like certain things for myself. One of them was like make a zine every month. Some of the
Right.
zines I didn't publish, but like some of them was like. So then 1 month I was like, fuck it, like kind of what you're saying, like let me do a collage. But you start realizing how difficult it is to make a collage look well when you finally try to make a collage. Like that shit is
Yeah,
not
there's
easy.
that make it look easy too. Because I see some of their work, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a pretty good artist. I can do that. And then you sit down and you're like, oh shit, this is a lot of fucking
Yeah.
work.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you start realizing like this is not just fucking get a bunch of shit and just slap it on. Like there
No,
definitely is an eye for it, and I don't have an eye for it.
I tried. That's like
I
I
try.
tried my best. I tried my best. But I like to explore different styles and mediums and see. I mean, Craig and I were joking the other day about like there. I don't think there's such a thing as a bad idea, and I think I threw out the idea of making a zine about buttered toast, and so now I've got the idea that I'm going to take slices of bread and create on the bread, scan the bread into my computer and turn it into a zine. Like, why not, right? I think a lot of good ideas just come from the idea of, wouldn't it be strange if, or wouldn't it be stupid if this, and then just take that idea and run with it until it's done, right?
But why not, right? Like I've never heard of this rock group, but I never heard their music, but I heard about a band. I think they were called Velvet Underground or something like that.
Well, I know the
And
name.
yeah, and like I heard that they were trying things like where they were dumping their amps inside of tubs full of water, but like surrounded so that the sound you would hear and they would record was the sound from the amp going through the water. And so like they tried all this kind of crazy weird shit, and they're like, and some of it didn't work, and then a lot of people were like, but some of it was fucking mind blowing. You know what I mean? And it's that point of like, if you don't try everything on the spectrum, like how do you know?
Yeah,
You know
and
what I
if
mean?
it doesn't work, it doesn't work, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like,
nobody's
it just doesn't
but
work,
if it does work, then oh my god, and
right?
it
Yeah.
can work really good. Yeah.
Fuck.
And I
But
think
yeah,
zines is one of the like it's a great medium to be able to do that. It gives you it's a great medium to do that.